Congratulations, you no longer have to work for a living. What are you doing with all the extra free time? Story 1. I just turned 53, and when I retired 3 years ago, I started doing stand-up. Been on tour for about a year. Mostly small theaters in small to mid-sized towns. Sometimes people come, sometimes not. Either way, I'm having a ball. Story 2. Learn, and keep learning all the things I want to, not just the things I have to. Practice. Master all those things: writing, cooking, woodwork. Go back to martial arts practice, yoga, shooting, swimming, snowboarding, climbing, carving, pottery, music. Travel all the places I want to, not just back and forth to the same place. I enjoy my job, so I'd probably still keep doing it, but I could decide more about how to do it and how much to do it. Story 3. Fishing, hiking, riding motorcycle, learning new language, working out, eating healthy and cooking, fixing all the broken chute around the house, gardening, working on project truck. Story 4. I spend my time going to dialysis 3 times a week and getting treatment for multiple myeloma. Yay! Retirement for me is very busy, just the wrong kind of busy. Soon enough I'll be under control, then I can do the fun stuff. Story 5. I'm in that situation and I'm just waiting for my wife to retire before we start to travel. I will say that any day retired is better than my best day working. Story 6. By me, there's a group of local woodworkers with varying degrees of expertise. It was started by a local master as just a discussion group, but evolved into meeting at each other's shops. Then it evolved from tinkering around to building an actual piece of furniture from start to finish so everyone could see the process. Then we auctioned the pieces off and donated the money to charity. I think I just do that full time, then go home and smoke a joint and work in my garden. Story 7. Help other people become their best selves. Be creative and bring new and exciting artwork and ideas to life. Save abused and abandoned animals. Story 8. Not a darn thing. I retired at 39. My pension pays my bills and I don't have large debt. I worked another job for a year, and when that didn't work out, I decided that I'd rather not look for a job or work right now. 1. Job market is trash. 2. I can live off my pension just fine. Getting a job would just be fun money, but that money could be someone else's livelihood. 3. I became incredibly ill 11 months ago, and with my health continuing to deteriorate, I'd rather focus what little energy I have attempting to fight for my life and deal with health insurance and doctors. 4. The world is burning. And people are angry, and I'm tired of the general human callousness. So I haven't worked since March, and I don't do anything but Netflix and breath and doctors. Story 9. Lately, I've been obsessed with the idea of cleaning up homes of people who hoard. Don't know if I can get past the smell. Answer. It's a nice idea, but it's a headache. I know from experience. My previous husband, current husband, and my next-door neighbor are hoarders. They will argue about why this object, that they haven't used for 3 wars, is still important. They will argue until you are so frustrated that you give totally up. Since you're obsessed with the idea, try one hoarder and let me know how it goes. I need some tips for my current husband's hoarding. I am so sick of the junk and clutter. It's suffocating. Story 10. I would still work 1 or 2 nights a week. I'm a pediatric nurse and I enjoy my job most of the time. I like feeling useful and I worked hard to become a nurse. I would do more volunteer work, maybe at the hospital a few blocks from my house or at church, and my husband and I would travel more. Story 11. traveling and creating homebrewy fantasy worlds to play various TTRPGs in with random or people I know. Story 12. Trying to find work. If you're only getting a living worth of money, it would be great for a few weeks. But then you'd get incredibly bored because you'd still not have enough money to keep yourself occupied for the whole time. I know, because I'm in that situation now. Was great for a while, but now it's just sad and depressing. Answer. There's lots of things you can do for basically little cost. Biking in your neighborhood, join a rec center for gym swim, learn to draw, fly a kite, kick a ball, volunteer, someone here mentioned, plant seed from trees and grow saplings, pick worm, go fishing, pick up garbage in your community, throw rocks in the lake, help a neighbor, chat with lonely people everywhere, etc. Just got to find what you like to do that's relatively free. Story 13. If I have, I'm going to spend it on updating local, city, county, and state parks. Then I'll walk, hike, fish, birdwatch, and just enjoy all the parks. Plus, I'll take a photography class so I can take pictures of all the stuff I see edit, and lots of community gardens. Story 14. Keep active with my family, get involved in volunteering efforts, then travel, road trip, if we can afford it. Story 15. Retired at 47, did not really announce it nor told anybody. On a regular day, I drop off the kids at school, go the gym for hours, work out, swim, hang out by the pool outside, hot tub, get massages, go the steam room, take classes, read the news and books, work on random home and tech projects, shop for stuff, manage contractors and vendors on bigger home projects, pick up the kids and have a nice sit-down dinner, go to sports and activities with them, use free time to entertain and hang out with friends, throw parties once in a while. We travel to Europe and random places in the US for months when there is a school vacation. I often travel without a laptop or a tablet, makes me feel free and I enjoy not having to check anything. I tell people who ask questions that it is a once-in-a-lifetime vacation and that I work remotely while there, but that is only to make them feel better. Story 16. Whatever the fudge I want, it's gonna start with a long sleep and then be followed by pancakes and coffee. I'll figure the rest out afterward. Story 17. Probably run for a right-wing political office. This way I can continue not working and increase my profits. Story 18. Catching up on all the cross-stitch patterns, books, and video games I've bought and had no time to sew, read, or play. Story 19. Getting close. Probably next year. Practicing piano, reading, and mountain bike. To my heart's content. Learn astronomy and astrophysics. Story 20. Travel. Blog. Write and photograph. Meet the kind people of the world and share their stories. Hopefully find a way to grow that so people will see that not everyone is mean and dislike and politically motivated. Also find the best mom-and-pop diners in America and enjoy either biscuits and gravy or pancakes every weekend. Story 21. Ideal answer. Travel, hockey, mountain biking, hiking, video games. Realistically, I'd probably drink myself to passing from boredom. Story 22. Read, learn to play the piano, study a second language, travel, go on walks, gym, eat wherever I want, and sleep lolo. Story 23. Welp, this is actually my life. Due to extreme privilege and my mom and grandparents all working crazy hard, investing wisely, planning beautifully, and dying by the time I was 31, I don't work. Well, I do, but only because I want to. I'm a teacher, but now I just substitute whenever I want. I get to play teacher, dress up, hang out with kids, have fun, and then leave at contract time. I don't deal with parents or most of the planning and prep. It's the best. I volunteer. A lot. I volunteer at my local library, teaching adults English. I volunteer with a cat shelter every week, and I am a volunteer tutor with an organization that provides tutoring to kids experiencing homelessness. Honestly, I'm busier now than when I was a full-time teacher, and then I get to do whatever the fudge I want. I am able to go to the doctor and therapist at weird times during the day. I swim in my pool. I run errands. It's really not all the glamorous. I just don't have a normal work schedule that takes up my time. There's a lot of freedom to just do boring, ordinary things. I read a lot. I have lots of little old lady hobbies, even though I'm only in my 30s. My screen time is honestly none of my business. If it weren't for the internet and this darn phone, I'd probably read way more and know roughly 15 languages. Truly, I spent most of my time scrolling TikTok. I get to travel a lot when I want to, and that's definitely my biggest flex. I don't have to ask for PTO. I don't have a school year schedule I'm tied to anymore. I just go. When I want. I'm incredibly lucky. I trade it all to have my parents back, but I can do that, so I do my best to live well. Thanks to them. Story 24. I would spend a lot of time outdoors hiking, camping, traveling to national parks, etc. With work no longer in the picture, I would make it a goal to plan and, over time, complete some through hikes. Appalachian Trail, Pacific Crest Trail, and Continental Divide Trail. Story 25. Spending more time doing music, finish my album, hone my recording writing skills, start all the projects I've been wanting to. Story 26. Wake up, do some yoga, hit the gym, vape some plant substance, have an amazing hot shower, have lunch outside, go to some museum or art thing, read study paint, do some gardening, walk my dogs, cook dinner, watch a movie, go to sleep, repeat. Story 27. My city has a free Adopt a Vacant Lot program where you can grow things, so I'd do that. Then I'm getting a new bike and a kayak and planning long trips for both. Story 28. Honestly, volunteer. I do, in fact, want to work. I just don't want all the baggage that comes with it. Story 29. I may not have to work, but I really like my job. I get to do cool stuff with lasers and I work with my husband. He and his dad own the business, so I'd probably keep coming in. I know a lot of people probably think that sounds sad, but the stuff we do legit interesting and fun. Story 30. Write and draw and make all of the art. Go on walks every day at sunset. Read. Volunteer at the library or doing art therapy at the local women's prison. Cuddle with my cat. Story 31. Current plan. Smoke plant substance daily. Travel the world as much as possible anyway. Then become the stay of my lawn guy. Story 32. Angel, I feel ill every day and I don't need to work for a living. I don't know if it's actually that good for you. Answer. When COVID happened, my business was shut down for 3 months. We didn't know when we would be allowed to reopen. We just had to deal with it. The first 6 weeks were awesome. I adventured, hung out with friends every day, and caught up on lots of small chores that built up. After 6 weeks, I started to feel a lack of purpose and started feeling depressed. It was rough. If I had more time, I would have likely put more effort into finding a different purpose. But what I learned is that having infinite free time isn't for everyone. Story 33. Taking exercise classes at every boutique facility nearby, and at the fancy gym as well. Traveling everywhere I would like to visit, and return to old favorites as well. taking art lessons, both plastic and performing, reading and playing video games. Story 34. Dating a bunch until I find someone great to marry, and then making a bunch of YouTube videos dedicated to my hyperfocus. Story 35. Prob annoy TF out of my dad most days. I love him and I miss him. I'm unable to travel mean he's at an age I wouldn't ask him to drive so far. Story 36. Travel the world for a year, then buy a ranch in the mountains and raise horses and dogs and cows and all the animals. Story 37. Sleep, run, cook for kids, bring kids to school, pick up kids from school, watch movies with kids, vacation with kids, living life. Story 38. Travel and start a non-profit cat adoption cafe. For the first year, I definitely would travel around the world to all the places I have wanted to visit. Story 39. Exactly what I do every summer. I'm a teacher. Run, coffee, read, little creative project here and there, watch a movie or two, go for a hike. I'm convinced this is the life I'm meant to be living. I dislike going back to work. Story 40. Okay, I don't have to work. Does that money I have significant amounts of money to use with the free time? Or am I still in my current lifestyle, but just have bills permanently paid so I don't need to work? Because if it's the second option, I'd rather still work. I'd be so unbelievably bored with that much free time. Plus, I don't dislike working. Story 41. Probably spend the first few weeks, months just doing absolutely nothing and letting it sink in. Recovering from a world of hell. Then, when I finally feel like it's time to move on, I'll decide on my next steps. Story 42. After a year of really crazy hours, now that it's let up, I no longer remember how to have fun by myself. I do the things, I just don't enjoy them. They're chores. So probably lose my mind in the most pathetic way. Story 43. I'm 28 and right now I have 2 months off during summer, essentially. I golf, kayak, fish, hang out with my wife. I think I do lots more of that. Story 44. Actually have time to do my hobbies. Travel everywhere I've been wanting to. Basically, do everything I've wanted to do but can't due to lack of time and money. Story 45. Wake up and get a workout in first thing. Maybe a sauna. Make a good breakfast with my family. Golf some days. Read and learn. Travel and food would be high on my list. I'd probably move to southern Spain. Story 46. Probably just sit around and cook some soups and eat bread and desserts and just get all fat and sassy. Story 47. I don't have to work for a living. I'm a disabled pensioner, so I'm at university studying something that will allow me to work. Social work, so I can do some good. Not interested in contributing to the capitalist machine. Story 48. Realistically, I don't have more free time still, as taking care of a toddler, so childcare wouldn't give me free time, just give my wife more free time. If I did have free time, though, I'd make more kids then. Story 49. Making a big business where I can pay my employees 6 figures to do a job, knowing 200 or 1,000 employees lives better. And then relax down the beach with my family, knowing my company will happily run itself because everyone makes a good living. Honestly, been a dream of mine since I was younger. Story 50. Open an animal sanctuary and offer free spay and neutering services, ver care, and free vaccinations to any animal in need. Story 51. After you've been retired for 5 years, you will chuckle at your question. All the extra free time? You will find yourself wishing you had more time. Most of my retired friends and I could easily fill 5 lifetimes. When I was in my 20s and 30s, I viewed retirement as a non-stop vacation. Retirement is wonderful, but not a non-stop vacation. Even in retirement, you will have to pass on some things you would like to do. There are only 24 HRs in a day. Story 52. Opening a little second-hand bookstore someplace quiet and spending the rest of my life losing money on it. Story 53. Going back to school, getting my master's in counseling, and offering low-cost therapy to people who need it without having to go through an agency. Volunteering at a shelter. Getting my U.S. soccer D and C license and coaching soccer where I can be one of the coaches who aren't trying to build some sort of a brand from it. Story 54. Read, travel, hike, camp, paint. Attend community college classes for topics I've always been interested in. Sleep in, stargaze, grow my own fruits and veggies garden, road trips, volunteer, clean up trash in the neighborhood, get involved with homeless outreach programs, start a nonprofit. I mean, the list is endless. Story 55. Finishing the book before the library keeps asking for it. Spend time with my family. I have a grandmother in her mid-90s. Not put my newborn, 2- and 7-year-old in daycare, and just spend our afternoons at the playground eating sandwiches and doing a ton of day trips. Story 56. I'm about to go to college. I have a job that I want to do for my own enjoyment, so probably still go to college and not worry about money, though I'll invest more time into my hobbies. Story 57. Travel, increased family activities, take care of myself medically and aesthetically, be more charitable. Story 58. I would take my cat on more adventures for the remaining time I have with him. I'd figure it out after that. He's only 8, so I got some time. Story 59. I would still do my job, of course, because I love it. Then I will travel, get myself some sort of formal education in writing literature, have a garden, have a child, and try different recipes for fun. Write 2 books, 1 comic, 1 poetry book. Maybe learn coding. Story 60. 1. Playing Minecraft. 2. Drawing and stuff. 3. Getting the pets I've always wanted, but would normally be a lot of work with a job. 4. Getting a GF. Your boy's lonely. 5. Traveling, preferably with said GF, but also my buddies. Story 61. Renovate an old Queenslander home and go surfing whenever I can. Perhaps buy an old Land Rover Defender 110 and learn to service it myself. Every evening go for a walk with my wife down the beach and spend evenings with my kids helping them with homework. Perfect life. Story 62. Get a couple of master's degrees or a PhD. Teach and volunteer as much as I could. Travel some as well. Story 63. Assuming I have money, I'll be learning to cook all sort of great things for myself and try to learn from local chefs. I try to go to every MLB park for a game. One year, I try to see every NBA game of my team in person. Travel a lot, experience a ton. Story 64. Getting and staying in good physical shape and mastering leisure games like darts, billiards, horseshoes, cornhole, and golf. Being able to spend a couple hours each day to 1 or 2 of them and rotate each day. I would get good at each without burnout. Story 65. Focus on finally getting into med school now that I have financial freedom to take care of my family myself, and then use the income I get after med school to start free clinics. Story 66. Write, paint miniatures, Make my DD games even more elaborate. Learn to code. Make that dream video game I've been thinking about for 10 years. Learn to draw. Make comic books. Story 67. Make more art and listen to my body. Rest when I feel sick. Sleep when I'm tired. Eat when I'm hungry. The things we should be able to do anyways. Story 68. Intimacy, substances, gaming, sleep whenever. It's an addictive lifestyle that makes you really not want to work again, because even though you kinda have the time, the days fly by like nothing. And then doing SMeth less fun, like working or almost anything else, feels like eternity in boredom. Any advice? Story 69. Learn at least 1,000 kanji and become fluent in Japanese. Travel. Learn how to fix stuff in my house the correct way, since I'm doing it incredibly wrong and just rigging everything. Finish my degree. Try my hardest to fix everything for everyone in my life. Maybe if I've got time, run for public office to fix things for the people who are not in my life. Wouldn't that be nice? Story 70. Gardening every day, sharing with my loved ones, writing a book that will help folks in the medical field and their patients, getting a good night's rest every night and feeling satisfied, keeping my stress level to a minimum, and enjoying myself with walks in the forest and on the beach. Story 71. Designing, drawing, weaving, sewing, making my own clothes, cosplay. I have a lot of hobbies I enjoy, and I know I won't get bored. Story 72. Hit the gym, live a healthy lifestyle. Go to bed around 22, 23, wake up 7 a.m., go for a quick run, have a good breakfast, rest, then work on myself, read books, work out, prep healthy food, spend time with friends and family. Story 73. I work in AI. I met an older woman the other day that was terrified by the technology. When I told her the end game of AI and robotics is to free humanity from jobs, she couldn't fathom how anyone could live a fulfilling life without a job. Anyone sharing that concern? Story 74. Drawing and painting, fishing and hunting with my kids, reading, swimming, fudge, learning new languages, and traveling some. Story 75. Opening an animal refuge, somewhere where they can either come to live out their lives or be adopted out. But no cages. Story 76. Spoil my GF rotten. She's coming home to a clean place and a nice hot meal, and me in a good mood for once, LOL. Story 77. I retired recently. The first thing I did was turn off the wake-up alarm on my phone. After 35 years of getting up at 6:15 5 days a week, sleeping in was the greatest joy. Story 78. I love how the two most popular responses are: 1. OMG, I can finally do all of the things. 2. OMG, I can finally not do anything. The duality of man. Story 79. I like my job, so I'd keep at it. But I would do so with the knowledge that the risk of losing it wouldn't be so bad. I would spend more time doing homemaker handyman tasks because I enjoy them. And if finances allowed, I'd hire someone to teach me to do them better. I think at some point, it'd be really fun to get my master's or PhD, but to start out, I think I'd first enroll in just a class or two so I can maintain a balance. I'd like to have more art in my home that I've made, so I'd take art classes since right now I'm not very good and don't quite have the time to keep taking online tutorials. I have a baby on the way, and even though it's far out, I would love ours to be the house that her and her friends come to after school until their parents are done with work so they can wrap up homework and ask me questions and then decompress with healthy food and in a safe environment. I think that doesn't exist for a lot of kids, and it'd be a nice and satisfying way to share what I have and help others. Story 80. I love learning new skills and have a lot of creativity. Right now, I express that through a lot of different hobbies like painting, sewing, printing, modeling, etc. I'd probably do more of that kind of stuff, but in a larger space that can support that kind of stuff better. Story 81. Throwing myself into community politics, education, my local library, starting a community garden, planting trees I'll never sit under. Story 82. Help as many other people as possible while learning new things, especially things I'm not naturally good at, and live out all of my dream experiences. Story 83. Spend time with my family and kiddo. No one in their passing bed ever wished they could have worked more to make more money. Story 84. Definitely thought about this a lot. 3 days a week charity work. I think I'd spend too much time eating and drinking otherwise. Story 85. I'm a coach driver, so I'd still do my job for free, but help the less fortunate, take groups to theme parks, etc. Do nice things happen. Story 86. Puttering around the house, decluttering, cooking, going to the gym, investing in my relationships, resting, hobbies, walking my dog. All the life things we don't have time for now. Story 87. I'm technically in this situation, and I use it to travel and live in different states, visiting different friends. I also write. I'm not rich by any measure, but I'm very comfortable and am able to move whenever I want. No kids is really the only reason I've been able to chill lol. The moment